Is Resident Evil Death Island worth a watch? Well, Jill actually sums up my opinion pretty well.
What the hell?
Welcome back to the world of survival horror. Death Island sees the return of Jill Valentine, and whilst I do have issues with her, she's not my biggest problem. So before we go any further, if you're looking for a quick answer to the question, is it worth watching? The answer is maybe. Okay, I know that doesn't help, but put it simply, if you're a die-hard Resident Evil fan, then yes, absolutely, you'll love this. And if you're a casual fan, then maybe not so much.
Uh-oh.
I'll drop a spoiler one in here, so I'd like to speak a little bit more freely, although I am not going to ruin the ending. Death Island sees the most of Resident Evil cast together for the first time in the franchise's history. Barry's still missing. Why is Barry always missing? I mean, admittedly, he's pushing 60 by the time Death Island takes place, but we know he's worked with Chris and the BSAA as a consultant, so it would have been nice to see him maybe running comms or something. But I'm getting sidetracked. I must admit it was nice to see the majority of the Raccoon City survivors in one film. The plot is, well, honestly nonsensical. Billed as a direct sequel to Vendetta, it's only got really a passing reference to it. Yet again, Raccoon City is brought up. Never mind all the other virus outbreaks that have been taking place. Terra Grigia, for example, which was an entire floating city that was destroyed 10 years previously, or Tall Oaks, which was the equivalent of Raccoon City and happened 2 years before the events of the film. But no, it has to be Raccoon City. Again. Anyway, Dylan Brake was a member of the Umbrella Bioterrorism Countermeasure Service, or UBCS for short, sent in to secure Umbrella personnel and extract them from Raccoon City. When his unit gets all infected, his commanding officers order him and his buddy to kill his teammates before they'll be extracted. Due to Blake's incompetence, his buddy also gets infected, and Blake is forced to kill him to save his own life. 17 years later, Blake now has a plan to infect the world because reasons. You know, the most sensible of situations, you thought you were a good guy, turns out you're actually a bad guy, so instead of being a good guy, you just embrace being a bad guy. Like I said, it's quite nonsensical. There is the token lickers and a 50-foot Neptune shark because, well, again, reasons, none of which really are explored. There's no character growth. Everyone starts and finishes exactly the same spot. The whole film is more of a way to shoehorn Jill back into the franchise. With her character model and voice actress taken straight from Remake 3, that in itself caused some headache, but more on that in just a moment. The whole film for me felt more like a missed opportunity, a phrase often attributed to the Resident Evil franchise. As the film is set between 6 and 7, it would have been a great way to introduce Blue Umbrella, set it up for their appearance in 7, or show what's happening in the BSAA, our cracks starting to appear. Instead, we're presented with a self-contained story that has no impact on anything that came before or after it. It's almost like they had a tick box, impossible bike chase, tick. Leon wants a vacation, tick. Lickers, tick. Random BSA agents get killed, tick. Although that did actually make me smile when that got pointed out to Chris.
And Chris Redfield, despite the fact you lose team members on every single mission, you keep coming back with more.
The voice acting was top-notch and I had no issues there. I suppose what really jarred me was the crossover in canon. I mean, what? Canon? Continuity?
That can't be good.
That's an understatement.
What I liked previously is that these CGI movies could have fitted into either the OG timeline or the remake timeline, as there was always their own thing, always seeming to reference Raccoon City, but that's as far as it went. Now we have Jill's Remake 3 model and voice actress reprising her role. However, it was still Matthew Mercer who's voicing Leon, and he's done that since Resident Evil 6. Problem comes that OG Leon always seemed more by the books, like the serious type.
Look, Ada, as an officer, it's my job to look out for you, but we're not going to get through this alive if we don't work together, okay?
Whereas Remake Leon seemed more how did he say it? Human, I suppose.
That one will.
You know what I mean. The point is that if this is a continuation of remake Leon, he wouldn't have just stood there and let Blake waffle on, but OG Leon would. So, which versions are we looking at?
Welcome to Alcatraz. I'm Dylan Blake. It's an honor to have you all here, together.
Such a fool, Mr. Kennedy. To have been bestowed with Lord Sadler's...
You talk too much.
It failed! You vulgar...
I suppose on the grand scale it doesn't really matter, and the whole film is a kind of love letter to Remake 3, taking certain elements from the game. It would just be nice if they had some continuity about it. I was surprised to see that Ada didn't make an appearance, but it wasn't an unwelcome surprise. I'm not sure adding her in just for the sake of it would have made it any better. With both Leon and Claire in the film, I did kind of expect it. Death Island doesn't raise the bar or add anything new to the franchise, and the story is fairly weak and predictable. However, it does get straight into the action, and there's a nice couple of nods back to Resident Evil 5, possibly foreshadowing a remake of that game. Basically, if you've seen one Resident Evil CGI movie, you've seen them all. It's fun for an hour and a half, and it's great to see most of the established characters back together, but don't expect to be breaking new ground. It was nice to see Jill back, and although her appearance is a bit jarring, and if you want to know my biggest complaint about bringing Jill back, then you'll need to watch the video that's on screen now. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, survivors, and I'll see you next time.
And that's that.